The most powerful thing a woman can do to a man is never talk to him ever again, blocked on everything because he fumbled. That is what he has to live with. Your absence. That is the biggest revenge. So stop posting on social media. Stop saying, oh, no contact. No, girly. Let that man suffer. Let him suffer because right now he's not feeling it. I know he doesn't care. He is happy that he fumbled you. Give it 4 months from now. He's gonna come crying back and say, how are you? I miss you. And the cycle needs to stop. That guy is not sorry for how he treated you. He misses the things you did for him. You were a tool in his toolbox. He does not care about you. Your relationship was a transaction to him. He got something from you, and in return, you got nothing and cried over a bum.
Back with another random facts about Korea, but this is a tough one. Women in Korea are no longer fighting patriarchy, they are just choosing to completely leave it behind. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about the Escape the Corset movement, but this movement was Korean women rejecting the insane beauty standards imposed on them. This movement inspired women to stop getting plastic surgery, stop wearing makeup, cutting their hair short, and gaining weight if they wanted to. This movement was also a lot about no longer pleasing the male gaze. If you're wondering why I got to this point, maybe it's time to study a little bit about the patriarchy and the misogyny that is so rooted in a traditional Korean home. Escape the Corset movement was not just about rejecting beauty standards, but fighting for gender equality, which ultimately now takes us to the 4B movement. This is going to be tough, bear with me, but the 4B movement in short means that you will not date, you will not marry, and you will not have children, and you will not engage with a Korean male because you want to completely rid the misogynistic society. This is such a sensitive topic, and I do not agree or disagree with it as a Korean female myself. Think about it. Is it absolutely heartbreaking that there are so many women a part of this 4B movement because they can't rid themselves of this misogynistic society? Yes. But is it also terrifying to think that South Korea has the lowest birth rate in the world? Yes. This is so tough, and I know that there has to be a change because this can't keep on going. It's truly so tough to think about because South Korea is so advanced in so many different ways, but also so behind in other ways. I'm Korean American. I was born in Seoul, but I was raised in America, so I didn't experience to that extent that level of misogyny. Korean Americans here are typically second, third, fourth, fifth generation Korean Americans who have broke free from those standards. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions, but if you don't know anything about Korean history or Korean relationships, be a little mindful before you comment anything ignorant. At the end of the day, these movements wouldn't be happening without real life issues. So many people think that Korean society is a walking K-drama, and if you believe that, you are in for a very rude awakening. Have you guys ever heard of the Escape the Corset or the 4B movement before? Or, after learning a little bit about it, what are your opinions? I know that it was a lot of information and a little bit dark, but as K-pop, K-beauty, and Korean food gets really popular, I thought I'd talk a little bit about Korean politics.
Here's my 3 tips. Number 1, do not bring it up verbally. Number 2, don't get jealous. And also, do not post him until he posts you, matches energy. Number 3, redefine what it means for you to be posted on his Instagram. Redefine his emotional commitment and test it in other ways in your relationship or marriage. This man doesn't owe you anything. The more you seek something from him, the more you think, oh my God, why doesn't he post me? Why isn't he showing me off to the world? Oh my God, he must be hiding me. The more you think that, the more you're wiring your brain to be anxious, and the more you become desperate, needy, and attached. Because I bet with you, if you have these thoughts, you're probably sitting there now explaining that verbally to your man. And what will he do? Probably not post you for another 5 years because you're sitting there in the corner begging him to understand you, and how dare him not post you. You're only proving to him how emotionally affected you are by him not posting you. He knows you're emotionally dependent on him, and he has emotional leverage and power over you, and you don't ever want to give that to your man. Otherwise, you lose the upper hand. Do not post him as long as he does not post you. Do not put up a single photo of him, and see how he likes that when all of a sudden all these men are commenting how beautiful you are, liking and sharing your photos, and just keep that going. Do not post him until he posts you. I need you to shift your mindset, because you cannot measure his love or commitment to you in him posting photos of you online. If he does not show you love or commitment or emotional attachment to you in other areas outside of social media, that is a fuckboy, that is toxic. Leave him and move on. Instead of measuring his loyalty, commitment, or love to you by posting you on Instagram, you need to find a different way for him to prove his emotional commitment to you. And this is something that I learned from Sheer7, Sprinkle Lady, shout out, we love her. She basically says whenever you're with a man, you need to get something from him, something materialistic, like a handbag, money, whatever it is, right? You need to have like a goal, you need to have like a target, so you know how emotionally dependent he is. And this is a great way you could utilize in this scenario and steer clear and steer away from that social media, because maybe this man is head over heels for you but has 4 followers on Instagram and just doesn't bother posting. But that's also very different to a toxic fuckboy who doesn't show you any love, any recognition, any reassurance, does not reach out, does not message you, only calls you at 3 a.m. for the booty call and doesn't post you on Instagram. Obviously, girl, I need you to read the room, okay? You need to test him how emotionally committed he is to you, and if he does show you that in real life, that Instagram bullshit, it doesn't even matter.
Whenever you start dating a new person after a breakup, they're probably going to let you down in some way. And the more they let you down, the more you're going to think about your ex and have your ex on this pedestal so high that, all of a sudden you were Romeo and Juliet, and I guarantee you weren't. So don't be surprised that every time you start to date or get out there a little bit, when it doesn't go well, you are going to think about your ex so much more because you were familiar. There was a history. There was a comfort there. So it's not surprising. Prepare for it and know that it's all part of it. You can still keep moving yourself forward, and you're going to feel yourself come back to life once you start meeting people that are for you.
As a man, how can you tell that a girl is high quality? There's honestly a lot that goes into this, but I'm gonna do my best to break it all down. The first thing is that you have to be able to pre-qualify a girl. Think to yourself, okay, is this even a girl that I'd want to consider taking seriously? And the quickest way you can do this is when you look at her Instagram, think to yourself, would I be able to show this to my mom without hiding anything? If the answer is yes, then okay, that's a good first step. The second thing is when you actually meet her, you have to act like a high quality guy. Because if you find this girl who's high quality and then you invite her to your place to Netflix and chill, yeah, she's probably not gonna like that. So actually bring her out on a real date. This is something I actually messed up on recently. The girl that I'm kind of seeing right now, the first time we hung out, I just invited her to my place and we just hung out. So I'm not perfect, I messed up on this, but things are going well, so it's all good. And lastly, but this is probably the most important, you have to make sure that they have strong value. They value things like loyalty, trust, and all the positive things. How does she treat you? Is she loving, or is she like rude and disrespectful? You have to first make sure that you pick the right girl, and then just be a high quality guy and you will find a high quality girl.
What if I met the wrong person?
Then you'll eventually know, but at least you'll learn from it. I spent, 7, nearly 8 years in my last relationship, and then it ended, and I realized afterwards, okay, that wasn't supposed to happen, but I learned so much through that process that's made me better in this relationship now. Again, everyone has a different path. Some people get married at 21, some people get married at 40. I'm just one of those people that's not gonna be married at a young age, but, who's to say in the next 4 or 5 years I'm not gonna be married with kids,
Thank you, bro. You're supporting me. I love that word.
26, bro. You're so young. You're so young.
You said I'm 50.
I'm
Mentally, bro. Not gonna lie, yeah.
But, don't worry about giving away energy to a relationship. When you find the right one, it shouldn't take up all your energy. You won't have to, it should be easy. And you'll know that when you're with that person because it's easy, it's chill, nggak ada stress. Tenang, bro. Semangat, bro. Jangan nangis, gak apa-apa.
Sedih.
Jangan.
This is my theory on why men absolutely love girls in sundresses. This isn't even a theory, it's true, and I even asked my boyfriend and he said the same exact thing. So we know the alternative to sweatpants and a backwards hat for guys is a sundress for girls. Why is it just a sundress? My boyfriend bought me probably the most beautiful, prettiest sundress I have ever seen, and I've never seen him be so quick to see me in it and out of it. This man knows nothing about fashion. I love him to death, but he knows literally nothing about fashion at all. Most times I have to dress him if we're going somewhere nice. Any other girlfriends out there like that? But he knows nothing about fashion. So when I picked up this sundress, begs me to go try it on, right? I go try it on, I come out and he's like, This man was at a loss of words, as he should be, and he always is, but it was different with this sundress. He goes, oh, you're definitely getting that. And before I can even take this dress off, this man already has his card pulled out. That's when I knew why guys love sundresses on girls, and I even asked him, and he said the same exact thing that I was thinking. A sundress is probably the girliest and most feminine piece of clothing a girl can wear, and guys love that. Not all, but a lot of guys love when girls show up in their feminine energy, especially in the way that they dress. Sundresses have always been a big fashion symbol for feminine energy. For example, Barbie dolls. Dolls always wear those super pretty, light, feminine looking sundresses, right? Flowy dresses with pretty colors. Yeah, men eat that shit up. And also, the manlier the man, the more they eat it up. They honestly devour it, and this trend proves it. Sundresses are so hot. Honestly, can we blame them? This all makes a lot of sense to me because I remember learning this type of stuff in my psychology classes. A lot of masculine men look for the alternative, which is a girly girl. Anytime I dress super girly or I wear a sundress, my boyfriend goes absolutely crazy, just like he did the day he bought me that sundress. This man worships the ground that I walk on, but if I'm walking in a sundress, he's literally setting up a red carpet underneath my feet. And I know exactly why. I love sundresses, so it's a win-win.
Here's how to make any guy obsessed with you. And for context, this is what my girlfriend did to me. You know how you ladies go feral, absolutely lose your fucking minds over a backwards hat and some sweatpants? Well, we have an equivalent. What is it, you might ask? Oh, when we first started dating, she wouldn't stop wearing milkmaid sundresses. And let me tell you, every single guy on planet Earth likes a milkmaid. What is a milkmaid?
I can pull up a photo.
I don't know, but it shows the milkers. And daddy wants that 2%, baby.
What's your best relationship advice?
Find someone who tells the truth. Someone that doesn't lie to themselves. Some people, I look at them and I can just see like that there's nobody home. I call them Christmas trees. It's all glittery on the outside and there's lights blinking and you look between the branches and there's nothing in there. They're not telling the truth because they've never arrived at it. The most valuable thing that anybody can give is their trust. There's nothing more important, nothing more valuable than that. So I do not lie to people that trust me.
Dating advice I wish I could tell my 30-year-old self. You should be focusing on your career, not helping your partner do his resume. He could do it himself. Emotional maturity should be very high in your qualities list for a potential partner. Stop trying to convince yourself you're okay with a situationship. If you want a relationship, look for somebody else who wants a relationship as well. If you're spending more time worrying about what makes them happy versus what makes you happy, you need to reevaluate. Just because someone thinks they have a reason to treat you poorly doesn't mean you need to accept it. Don't change your value system to accommodate someone else, ever.
While he's sitting over dinner with her, checking out other women, she's so self-absorbed, checking herself out in the mirror and fixing her makeup that she does not even notice. That is a black cat woman. A black cat is selfish. A golden retriever is selfless. If you feel like you're still running after your man, chasing him, and still having to compete with other women over him, even though you've got the title, ring, marriage, or living together, welcome to my page. I'm gonna teach you how to flip the script and get your power back. Women that are miserable and needy and desperate in their relationship and still feel they need to overcompensate to get their man's attention, love, or reassurance are the golden retriever archetype. Women that are self-centered, self-absorbed, have such an exciting and happy life and have the power in the relationship and a little bit of emotional leverage, that is the black cat archetype. And these type of women are always more happy and fulfilled. Actually, is one of the sexiest things a woman can be to any man. Self-sufficient. A woman that can hold her own. Why are these black cat women so attractive to a man? Well, I'm glad you asked. It is because they could walk away if they needed to. They forever make their man feel as if they're sitting on the edge of their seat, not fully knowing where they stand with her. On the other hand, a golden retriever is a type of woman that overcompensates, that tailors her entire life, everything she does, to him. She lets her man become comfortable. She lets her man get away with shit. She's forgiving of little stupid dicks he's making because she loves him so much. If her man comes home in a shit mood from work, she's trying to fix it. She's gonna cook his favorite meal, puts on his favorite TV show, and just tries everything to make him happy again. Pick me. A black cat woman wouldn't even bother. She probably wouldn't even notice that he's pissed off from her because she's so busy focusing on herself. A black cat woman knows if a man is in a shit mood, is going through something, has problems, it is not her responsibility as a woman to fix him. A golden retriever, on the other hand, will forever support him because she's loving unconditionally and is so loyal to him. Little does she know, she's slipping into the role of his mother. And there's no man on earth that is somewhat stable in his mind that is attracted to his mother. A golden retriever loves him so much that she will jump when he says jump. When he throws a last minute date at her, she will say yes and drop everything, get ready, jump into the Uber so she knows she can see him. If a golden retriever woman gets cancelled on, she is upset and she has to show him. She has to prove to him by sending him thousands of text messages how hurt she is, how dare him if he doesn't respect her, and she feels so empowered doing so. But little does she know, she's just proving to him how emotionally affected she is. A black cat woman, if she gets cancelled on, is probably glad about it so she can return to her favorite activities because her own life is so fulfilling and exciting. She does have a busy schedule and she will let him know. She will only have to tell him once. The golden retriever woman likes to take initiative, likes to plan the dates, likes to talk to him first, likes to reach out first, in the form of messaging or calling after work how he's feeling, if he's eaten, if he's slept well. The black cat woman couldn't care less because she's only worrying about, has she slept well? Has she eaten? How am I feeling? If a man would say to a black cat woman that he needs space, she would say, honey, here's the door. Let me call the taxi for you. If a man would say the same thing to a golden retriever girl, she would have a meltdown. But where are you going? Are you leaving me? Did you find somebody else? Oh my God, how could you do this to me? Little does she know, once again, she's just giving away her biggest leverage in this entire universe. Her emotional dependency on a man. As a woman, if you're watching this, this is your biggest power. Do not show it to him on a silver tray. Men went to war for women to get their emotional reassurance, to get their loyalty, to get their love. So stop throwing it at men that tell you, I need space from you. You should feel offended. That is not my loss, that is your loss. Here's the door, honey. Arrivederci.
You know what the craziest, most frustrating part of becoming an adult is? That nobody ever really talks about.
It has been proven that the human brain cannot distinguish between something that has actually happened and something that's being imagined. It does not know the difference, and we don't talk about this enough. This means that if you're constantly thinking about being sick, worrying about your health, and perpetuating fear into your own life, you're actually making your body go through the physical experience of it. And the crazy part is this can actually cause disease progression within the body. Our bodies believe what our minds tell us. So it's incredibly important that we choose our words wisely. Choose what we think about every single day. Make sure it's positive, make sure it's healthy, and make sure it's something that we actually want. Without actual proof of something wrong, you shouldn't be thinking it. Choose your thoughts and choose your words wisely. I hope this helps.
You guys always ask me, why do I have tips for literally everything? It's because I glowed the fuck up. This was me 2 years ago. I was not born pretty. I was not known as the pretty girl. I gave myself the biggest makeover, bigger than any of the idols that I've analyzed. Today, I'm going to tell you the things that made the biggest difference. Tip number 1, eyes long black every morning. If you have a rounder and more fleshier face like me, this is going to change your life. Because a lot of the times, it's not your face shape, it's puffiness from water retention. Eyes long blacks are the most efficient way to get rid of puffiness. Next, you know it, weight loss. Especially if you have a chubbier face like me. Weight loss will change your face completely. I remember when my transformation got viral, there were articles that analyzed where I've gotten stuff down. So many people were so sure that I had a nose job. My nose is 100% real. I haven't gotten anything down, not fillers, not nose job, nothing. I don't blame them because it's crazy to me how much my nose has changed as well. I lost around 14 kilos over a year. Looking through the photos, I can literally just see my face changing. Tip number 3, trying different makeups on your face. A lot of you tell me that you don't know which type of makeup suits you. Nobody knows until you try it on and see yourself. You can watch makeup tutorials to find inspirations of different makeup techniques, but to know whether a technique will work for you or not, you need to try it on. We don't grow in templates. Our faces are so different and so complicated. No makeup tutorial or template will fit you 100%. Lastly, skincare. I've never really had bad skin, right? So I never really took skincare seriously. I'm lazy, I don't wash my face, and I don't wear sunscreen every day. So I would just have have a lot of small bumps on my face. After I skincare properly this year, it just makes a big difference. Don't forget to follow me if you want to glow the fuck up too.
If you want to speak with more poise, something that is so important is curating the content you consume, because we subconsciously adopt the language of the books, the podcasts, and the people that we follow. I want to share with you 3 of my favorite YouTubers who I think speak and carry themselves with so much poise so that you can get some inspiration from them too. YouTuber number 1 is Audrey Coyne. She has an incredible channel on timeless fashion, investment pieces, elegant style. She's the absolute go-to for all of that. She speaks so gracefully and with so much poise. I love listening to her. She's definitely got an angelic and soft voice, so if that's something you want to cultivate, go check her out. YouTuber number 2 is Hannah Louise Poston. I love this woman. She does makeup and fashion, but my favorite videos of hers are definitely her fashion ones. She is just able to break down concepts like how to find your personal style in such a unique way that makes so much sense. She has such a brilliant mind and is so wonderfully articulate. If you want to elevate your everyday language, I really recommend her. YouTuber number 3 is Tashira Halyard from Politics and Fashion. If you ever saw Queen energy in its physical manifestation, it would be this woman. She's elegant, she's poised, she's fiery, she's smart, she speaks her mind, and she just has the best taste in jewelry. So if you want to be poised, but with a bit of sass, a bit of oomph, she's the one for you. I encourage you to check these ladies out, and if you have any recommendations of your own, I'd love to know.
April theory. Have you heard of this? The theory that your life starts to change and take off in the month of April. It's 100% correct. The new year does not start on January 1st. Okay, so maybe, yes, by Gregorian calendar standards it does. But astrologically, it starts with the beginning of Aries season, which is the very end of March. That takes some time to ramp up, and bam, we're in April. Astrologers j'adore April theory, and I'm glad you know now too.
Minimum wage, and I cannot afford to live.
I can break it down perfectly for you. So I'm one of the many Americans struggling with homelessness. I live in a vehicle that was made in 1996. I live on the side of the road, and I live in parking lots from time to time. When I can, I stay at campgrounds. But this was obviously not my first choice of living. At the time I became homeless, I was 22. My grandma had just passed away. I had applied to 6 different apartments, and I got denied at every place because I didn't have renter's history or credit yet. Because like I said, at the time I was 22, I never rented before and I never built credit. So after being denied multiple times, I did have to stay in motels, and my money was going fast on nights at motels. Plus, the motels weren't super clean or safe, and I have 2 cats. Well, I have 3 cats, but at the time when I first became homeless, I did have 2 cats. Now, the answer that you want, I have. You're wondering why they are doing this, and you're wondering why we are not fighting back. Slavery never stopped, it just evolved. The government requires you to be a slave to them in order to rent an apartment. You could have money. You could have, for example, $10,000 cash, but you still will not be able to get a place to live unless you have proof that you have been a slave to the system, pay stubs, bank statements, proof that you work a certain amount of hours. If you are not making money for the government, then they don't want you. They don't want to help you, and they see you as a burden. The system is set up for rich families. If I had a co-signer, I would be able to get a place to live, but I had no family or friends to co-sign for me, so I've just been navigating this kind of by myself, and I spent my life savings on this vehicle so that I didn't have to sleep in my car or outside in the park. But the government doesn't believe you guys will fight back, and they're trying to make you so tired that you won't fight back, or you will become so rageful and you won't think straight, so you'll get yourself in legal trouble, and then once you get locked away, you can legally be used as a slave. It says it in our amendments. When you get arrested, you can be used as a slave, like legally. It says it in our amendments in very little font. So at the end of the day, it's all about the elites using the middle class and the poor as their workhorses. I always try to tell people you will never get rich working a 9-to-5 job because the rich never got rich that way. The rich are telling you guys, go work a 9-to-5 job and you will be like us. But they really got their money from generational wealth, slavery, funding wars. The reason inflation happened and you guys need to be making more money for your rent and for your gas is because they're giving money to the wars, because the rich elites of our country make money by funding wars, by trading missiles and trading weapons and stuff. So that's why they need you guys to work extra hard for them right now, because you guys are helping funding the war. Meanwhile, many of you are getting angry, rageful, getting yourself in legal trouble because you're tired, you're exhausted. You're needing to depend more on healthcare because you're sick now and you're getting overworked. No humans should be working this much. Never in history have we before. The funniest thing is, right now I'm homeless living on the side of the road, but I'm making more money than my grandma was, or my grandparents, my mother, like back in the day. Their rent was like $300, but they're gonna tell us that they worked just as hard as us and that we're the bums and we're lazy because they're not gonna own up to the mess that they made. And they don't care anyways because they're not gonna be on Earth for much longer. So we're gonna be the ones to deal with it, and then our children. But you guys just have to realize it's about slavery, it's about power and control, it's about feeding the elites, feeding the rich. They don't care what happens to you. They see you as ants. If you pass away, they will replace you with a new employee. They really don't care. You're just money. You make money for them, and they even say money doesn't exist. It's just meant to control you because they know money doesn't exist. They trade numbers. They do not trade money. Money is paper. It's a made-up thing to control the middle class and the poor so that you guys stay in your lane. So you can keep getting angry like this, but that's not going to do anything. You have to become brave. Stop depending on the government. They control you with fear because they think that you need them. They took away our human instincts, so you don't think you can hunt for food or make your own house, but you think you can make money to pay somebody to do it for you. And that's where they have you, because you don't know how to be self-sustainable anymore and you need to rely and depend on them. When at the end of the day, we have trees we can go cut down and build our houses. We know how to build a fire. I grew up in a town where hunting is a thing every season. We hunt for deer and turkeys. But they have you fooled thinking that giving away $2,000 every 30 days is winning. When at the end of the day, not paying rent is winning, dude. I don't pay rent. Literally, I've never paid rent in my entire life. I tried, but they didn't want me to because I didn't qualify. So now I've been learning how to live in different ways without the government, and they hate me for that. But in these next couple of years, you're gonna see van life, RVs, trailers all over the place because some people want to be free for the little time that we have on Earth. We don't want to be working our young lives away for corporations that don't care about us. At the end of the day, people need to stop paying rent and fueling the rich and the elites, but that's not going to happen. So, get it how you live it while you're on Earth. Try to enjoy your time while you're here and just try to wake up to the fact that money and material items really aren't all that.
Why are mothers so triggered by people that don't want kids?
I think it's because it stings some of us who have decided to be mothers when we think about what was the real reason why we wanted to be a mother. For many of us, it's because, at least for a person like me, it was because I sought identity. I sought identity that was acceptable, cared for, supported, and affirmed by the greater society. Because all the things that I was, in my mind, was not. I'm a child who grew up in significant childhood trauma and poverty, a person who had an absent father, a person who ended up in foster care and aged out, a person of color, a brown person, a brown girl. And to me, those identities weren't of any worth or any of value. So I thought, well, if I'm a mother, now I'm something to be proud of. Now I'm something that people will admire and people will respect and people will affirm. But when you get into the actual day-to-day life of being a mother and you realize how no one cares how you feel, when you realize how much work it is, when you realize how selfless you have to be, how self disappears, who you are as a person disappears, and the society doesn't value you, and you're not even sometimes valued in your own home, then you look back at those women or people who say they didn't want to have kids, and then you realize, those people had a sense of self. The identities and who they are as a person, they know. And they don't need to go and find an identity or find a label to put on themselves to be acceptable, because they're acceptable and okay just as they are. And when you're in the midst of it and you look at it, it stings. It stings because you realize you didn't have a sense of self. And remember, you can feel this way and still love being a mother. You can feel this way and still love your children very much. But there is a mourning and regret you feel about how you disregarded yourself, hoping to find an identity that would be accepted and affirmed by others, instead of realizing that who you are just as a human being, as a woman, as a person, is okay.
Everybody's mad at that girl who said that you should be able to ask your friends for favors, like rides to the airport or help.
Maybe this is a hot take, but I actually feel like this is one of the very few things the baby boomers got correct and the future generations have really lost. When I look back at boomers, I think of them as very social people, for better and for worse. An example of this that I like to think of is going to an Apple store and seeing the boomers at the Genius Bar. And they're asking this underpaid customer service representative who probably makes like minimum wage and had like a few weeks of training, super advanced questions like, why does my iPhone do X, Y, and Z? Can you make it not do that? And obviously this random customer service worker is not a programmer for Apple. They're not engineering the phone, but the boomer doesn't get that. And what I've noticed too is boomers will literally say, well, can you call the person that knows about this? Like, can you call up the engineers? And what I've realized in these interactions is that boomers, they captured attention through socialization. Gen Z and millennials even, they could ask the internet their questions, but with boomers, unless you went to the library and like opened up an encyclopedia, they had no access to information outside of social means. And I think about this and look at the boomers more broadly and how they're cast as being very entitled people. And while I do think a lot of that is very true because they were given everything and never really made to like question why, I also have noticed that everything they need to get done in life for them requires some level of social collaboration as like an avenue to complete their goals. If they want to go to the airport, they are going to ask anyone in an immediate vicinity of them, can they get a ride to the airport? And I think that's actually kind of beautiful. I am among a subgroup of Gen Z that was raised by a boomer parent. My mother was born in 1960. And one thing that I actually appreciate that she's kind of passed down to me is that with my friends, I am always offering favors. And one thing I've noticed is that I have a hard time making friends who are like my age, mid-20s, or even a little younger, because they just really don't know what to do with that. I will offer them favors and they will not take me up on it. And that's fine. Like, I'm not like upset about it, but I just wonder like how exactly else do you expect to build a sense of community around yourself? Where are you going to find like a chosen family if you feel uncomfortable when your friend is asking you, do you want to accept their offers? I think that a lot of people hear the advice to ask your friends for help and they hear use your friends, make it a transactional relationship. And I feel like those are extremely different concepts because the most important part, as is generally true for relationships, is that it has to be reciprocal. So offer help to people. I think that's a radical action of community building. And accept help sometimes, especially if you want it, obviously. Accept help because that can strengthen your bond and then you can offer something in return. And now you have a sense of chosen family and community. And that's something that I think we're all lacking, especially as young people.
If every time you and your partner get into a fight, you have the urge to want to break up, this is usually a sign that your nervous system is in a flight response. This pattern, this reaction of wanting to leave the relationship is going to keep continuing again and again and again until you create safety and security within your nervous system. In order to not get this feeling of I want to run away, I want to break up with my partner, you have to work through the inner child wound that is causing this response in the first place. A lot of time there's an abandonment wound going on and it's like, in order to feel safe, I might as well just leave the relationship before they had the opportunity to abandon me. We do this, we heal the inner child wound and we regulate the nervous system by dropping into the body and working through the wound at the body level. And this is something that I help all of my clients with. I help them identify the inner child wound that is coming up, and then I help them regulate and heal their nervous system in order to create more safety and security within themselves and their body. So when them and their partner get into an argument, they have the ability to stay regulated and not have this urge to want to break up and leave. If this sounds like you and you need some support, follow along, or you can check the resources in the link in my bio.